how I'm gonna do this another day. But when you look into my eyes, it gives me strength.
Hello, hello, hello. For some reason, I didn't have any sound. Can you hear me? Do I have sound here today? Can I get a 505? Well, I don't know. I'm just going to hope for the best, I guess. Okay. So, to get started, we're going to do a shared window. And put the disclaimer up here showing that we got fair use. The use on the website does not in any way diminish or affect the market value of the original video. Drop this back down. You don't need to be looking right at my nose. You gave me a 5. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, okay, we're going to cover the case of Anita Knutson. It's about an 18 to 20-year-old case, but it's just now going to trial. And so apparently she had a roommate in Minot, North Dakota, and the roommate was jealous of her for some reason. I don't know what it is. But today was the opening day, so let's look back a little bit at what I was able to find about the past. Oh, I need to put some music on here. A little bit of music. I can't hear nothing. Okay.
Good evening. In less than a week, one of the biggest criminal trials our region has seen will begin. Nicole Rice will stand trial for murder in the 2007 killing of her then roommate, Anita Knutson. Over the next few days, we'll take a look at the investigation into Knutson's death and how we got here. We start off with a look back at the events surrounding Anita's death. The early June 2007 day began like any other in Minot and for those working in the KMOT newsroom, including former news director Nick Dreyer, who was assigning out stories to reporters. But the day quickly took a turn.
We got a report, I don't even remember how, about a situation that the police were surrounding an apartment or at an apartment by the MSU campus.
He assigned the story to former KMOT reporter Kristen Bean.
And she went out there and found out it was there was someone that was murdered.
According to the Associated Press, Knutson's father had come back to check on his daughter yesterday. They say the father and the landlord entered Anita's apartment and found her dead.
Police would later hold a press conference confirming the death of Anita Knutson, an 18-year-old student at Minot State. Investigators confirming her death was being treated.
You know what I wonder? How come they can use the M word and the D word and those kinds of words, you know, like this word right here, and it's on YouTube, but we can't use those words? I don't know.
But many questions remained, including how Knutson was killed and how the perpetrator entered the apartment.
Do you know how the intruder got in?
It's still an open investigation. We're not going to answer that question at this time.
Dreyer noted the unusual nature of the crime.
She had lots of friends. She was well liked, and it was just a very odd murder for a community like this.
Those sentiments echoed by the people of Anita's hometown of Butte in 2007, who gathered to honor her.
When the news of Anita's murder made its way through the close-knit community, everyone felt the loss.
Anita was the most, when my grandchildren started on the bus, they were scared, and she was there to help them, and they just adore her.
She was the prettiest flower in a field of flowers. She was the nicest person I knew.
But over time, the case would go cold, leaving a family and a community searching for answers. Now, Rice is presumed innocent until proven guilty. We do plan on covering the trial in Grand Forks. Now, tomorrow, we'll have more on how the case evolved over the years.
Tom, are you alive?
I was not able to find whatever for tomorrow. I was not able to find the next day's coverage. So but I did find this over here. Which is a break in the case. I don't have no sound.
Her 2007 death. Then a shocking revelation as police announce a break. Those who loved Anita Knutson had waited almost 15 years for answers to her 2007 death. Then a shocking revelation as police announce a break in the case. In our continued look at the Anita Knutson cold case, we go back to March 16th, 2022. A seemingly normal day for our newsroom quickly turned into one of the biggest breaking stories in recent memory.
A short time ago, Minot police announced they've made an arrest in the 2007 murder of 18-year-old college student Anita Knutson. She was found murdered in her off-campus apartment in June of 2007.
Minot's Public Information Office notifying us of an impromptu press conference earlier that afternoon at City Hall. That's where former police chief John Klug broke the news.
At about 3:25 p.m., 34-year-old Nicole Rice was arrested for murder and taken to Ward County Jail.
Nicole Rice, Anita's roommate at the time of her killing, now charged in her death. Rice arrested at her civilian job on Minot Air Force Base. Klug sounding adamant they had their suspect.
I wish we could have solved this sooner, but at the same time, I'm glad to say that we have person responsible for the murder of Anita Knutson in custody.
Rice made her initial court appearance the next day from the Ward County Jail over video, eventually bonding out. The arrest raised an immediate question. Why did police arrest Rice now, almost 15 years later? What changed?
Finally, with the help of cold justice, we were able to move forward and regain focus. Due to the resources, logistics, planning, and experts they were able to provide, we were able to obtain an arrest warrant for Nicole Rice.
Klug revealing the department worked with the investigative team of Cold Justice, a series on the Oxygen True Crime Network.
But start with where she ends up.
The left leg is bent up like this.
The show would go on to air a two-part special that October, laying out their meetings with local police investigators, community members, and Anita's family. But as we would soon find out, this would be far from the end of this case, as over the next 3 years, Rice's defense team would raise questions about the evidence against her and if she would be able to receive a fair trial. Now, tomorrow we'll look at the twists that the case has taken over the past 3 years. Rice is set to stand trial beginning next week in Grand Forks. Nicole Rice is presumed innocent until proven guilty. I'll be.
Okay, I wasn't able to find a tomorrow on that one either. But I did. Find the start of the trial. I'm not going to make you sit through the judge talking and all this stuff and everybody arguing back and forth about. No, it actually started on Monday. So, I just found it today. Okay, so here we go. Now, my little timeline thingy kind of moved backwards a little bit from where it should be, but I don't want to cut. You're very welcome. I don't want to cut off, because see, if I go any further, I'll miss her starting to talk. So let's start. The judge is going to be talking for just a second.
Tell the truth and the right to cross-examination. That would not be fair to the parties. Until you deliberate, please do not discuss the case with any or remain within hearing of anyone who is discussing it outside the courtroom. At the close of the trial, I will provide you with further instructions regarding the law to be applied by you to this case and the procedures to be followed by you in arriving at your verdict. Dated this 18th day of March 2025 by the court, Richard L. Hagar, District Court Judge. Ms. Sorgan, do you wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so we have Judge Hagar. That just kind of puts in my Hagar the Horrible. I don't know why. But he seems to be a nice man from what I've seen watching this much of the video. He seems like he's going to be a fair man.
Do you have me cut? Good afternoon, members of the jury.
This stuff right here fixed my back pain. Now check this out. I had cancer when I was younger, and I had to have a spinal fusion surgery, which means that part of my spine is fused and doesn't move. Now I have tons of inflammation, tons of pain. I always have, and it's been horrible. And I've tried for years, taking pills like a lead.
That's what you are now. You are the jury.
You like whose sister? Oh, her suit? Her suit, yeah, that is pretty. I like that color.
Jury. As Judge Hager has just instructed you, it's your job to listen to the facts in this case as they are presented. And as Mr. Nelson told you during voir dire, how we do that, through the testimony of witnesses in that witness stand right over there, and through the introduction of exhibits. 18 years ago, 18-year-old Anita Knudsen was stabbed to death in Minot, North Dakota. Anita had dreams of becoming a teacher. She was a college student at MSU. And when she was a student at MSU, her roommate was Nicole Thomas Rice, known as Nicole Thomas at that time. The state intends to show you evidence. There is bad blood between these two girls, and their living situation was highly toxic. The state intends to show you evidence that on the early morning hours of June 3rd, 2007, Nicole Thomas Rice stabbed Anita Knudsen twice in the chest, killing her. You're going to hear from a number of witnesses who established this timeline. I did a trial back in September. It was another murder trial. And my trial partner made a statement during closing that's echoed with me for a while, where he said, crime loves silence. Now, in that particular case, we had a defendant who had killed someone who could have blown the lid off of a pretty big drug operation. But that phrase stuck with me. Crime loves silence. As you have heard, this has been a cold case. Ms. Rice was not charged with this crime until 2022, 15 years after it happened. The bit of the tortoise in the hare, slow and steady. Law enforcement took the time to make sure we're the right person. There were some new developments that occurred over the years. You're going to hear testimony with regards to that. But as Mr. Nelson also told you during voir dire, there's some information that was looked back on in a different light. Because, as we all know, sometimes when you hear something in the instant, it means something a little bit more significant once you look back on it. I think that's what they meant then. Or, oh, that really is why that was important. You're going to hear whispers from the past across the void of time that led to these charges.
I agree with that. And for many, many, many people like you and I, we didn't know any of this happened. Of course, back then, the internet wasn't as prevalent as it was today. I think if this would happen in now times, like in the last couple of years, it would have been all over like a Sebastian Rogers case. I saw another case this morning where they were talking about somebody not being able to, was it about Brian Koberger? Yeah, the case is so popular that they can't determine where to have the case, where to have the court, because it's so all over the media that they are afraid that they're afraid for the jurors. So I don't know, but I agree with you. It's hard to think that
Silent, no more.
And she went on and got married. She has a different last name now.
And we are concluded with this case. We are confident that you are going to find Nicole Thomas Rice guilty of the murder of Anita Knutson. Thank you.
Mr. Sand, do you wish to make an opening statement for the defense?
Have you ever seen the magic glasses that can see clearly without glasses? This glasses can not only...
You may proceed. Thank you, Ms. Sorgan.
You guys hear me all right? Wonderful. First of all, thank you for being here. I know we said that during jury selection. This is a huge commitment. I'm sure it's very stressful. Taking a lot of time out of your lives, and we really appreciate it. Now, as the state's attorney said, you're going to hear a lot of evidence in this case. You're going to see a lot of evidence. You're going to hear a lot of testimony. At the end of it, I disagree with the state. You're going to know after you hear that Nichole did not kill Anita. Now, what happened to Anita is terrible. It's awful. It's every family's nightmare. It's every parent's nightmare. It's every town's nightmare. And Anita died in 2007. We're sitting here in 2025. Now, we talked in jury selection about what changed between now and then. I'm going to show you what changed. I'm going to tell you what changed. The witnesses are going to show you what changed. It was pressure from a TV show, a nationally syndicated program that came in, worked with the Minot Police Department, didn't dig up anything of substance, but put an incredible amount of pressure on the state's attorney's office, the police department, to bring charges in this case. Now, you're going to hear from the original officers. I anticipate you'll hear from them. They're on the state's witness list. Those are good officers. They worked this case really hard. And they followed up with a lot of people. And they didn't charge Nichole. They didn't charge Nichole because she didn't do it. Nichole got charged after a national media circus descended on Minot. You're going to hear evidence, just like the state said. You're going to hear evidence that they reached out to the FBI to find out. They didn't say Nichole. And I'll tell you who they said. They said it pointed to a man named Devin Hall. And I'm going to come back to that. Every time the police called Nichole, she showed up. She talked to him. She said, "How can I help?" Not everybody did that. Now, this Devin Hall, he was a 17-year-old kid from the Fort Peck reservation out in Montana. The evidence is going to show you he traveled to Minot. That's where the murder happened. The evidence is going to show you he admitted to possession of the murder weapon, which was a locking knife, like a buck knife, that had an Indian head on one side. At one time, it had Indian heads on two sides, but one fell off. And the evidence is going to show you that when the police showed that knife to Devin, he said, "Is this your knife?" He's going to say, "I've had that knife." You say, "How do you know?" It's missing the Indian head on the other side. You're going to find out that Devin Hall was caught breaking into other women's apartments that weekend through a window. Please listen to that. The state's going to tease that evidence out too, but they're going to try to change how it sounds. It's also important that you're going to look at someone's behavior. Devin Hall, the evidence is going to show you, continued this kind of behavior. And he had implications, not just back on his home reservation, but federally as well. You're going to hear testimony.
So I take it Devin Hall must be indigenous. Huh. If he lived on a reservation, he's either got to be Indian or half Indian. Huh.
Regarding a suspect that was the lead suspect in this case that ran from the apartment complex that Anita and Nichole lived in. You're going to hear this man was described as a 6'2" Native American young man who was sprinting at 7 o'clock in the morning from that apartment complex to the next apartment complex with blood on his t-shirt. You're going to hear from officer reports.
I am shocked.
Finally, a new alternative that makes liquid makeup obsolete. Women over 40 still use.
You're going to hear that they worked with the FBI, like I told you, and you're going to hear from other investigations, some of our own, that point to Devon Hall. That's where all the fingers point in this case. On top of that, there was other work that was done in this case that showed other suspects that were much more culpable than Nicole. There was the maintenance man you're going to hear about. The maintenance man who in the morning showed up, found a broken into apartment with curtains and a curtain rod strewn outside that he threw back in. That maintenance man was interviewed, and on New Year's Eve, the next year around, he committed suicide. And the night before he committed suicide, he talked to a friend and said he had something very heavy on his heart. You're going to hear about someone else, the prom date of Miss Knudsen. This prom date ended up moving into the same apartment as Miss Knudsen, same apartment building, went on to continue to be a sleuth throughout Miss Knudsen's, after her murder, and has been sitting in many of these court hearings as we go. He was a prime suspect. The cops describe him as obsessed with Anita. You're going to hear that Nicole had an alibi.
Whoa. The cops say that her prom date is obsessed with the case. He sat in the trials. Okay, if they're dating and she gets murdered, or unalived, I'll say, she gets unalived while they're dating, because this happened in May, so it would have been like either it was their senior prom from high school, because they would be freshmen in college now. And I don't know if college having proms or anything like that, so I'm probably going to say, so if they're still together during this time, a year later, I would expect to be obsessed too. I mean, I'd want to know what happened. I can see that. I really can. I don't see it as in a criminal way. Let's back up just a couple seconds to see. He says if he answers this question, is he obsessed with the case or with her? Let's see.
You're going to hear that they worked with the FBI, like I told you, and you're going to hear from other investigations, some of our own, that point to Devon Hall. That's where all the fingers point in this case. On top of that, there was other work that was done in this case that showed other suspects that were much more culpable than Nicole. There was the maintenance man you're going to hear about. The maintenance man who in the morning showed up, found a broken into apartment with curtains and a curtain rod strewn outside that he threw back in. That maintenance man was interviewed, and on New Year's Eve, the next year around, he committed suicide. And the night before he committed suicide, he talked to a friend and said he had something very heavy on his heart. You're going to hear about someone else, the prom date.
I'm going to turn this up so we can hear.
Of Miss Knudsen. This prom date ended up moving into the same apartment as Miss Knudsen, same apartment building, went on to continue to be a sleuth throughout Miss Knudsen's, after her murder, and has been sitting in many of these court hearings as we go.
Okay, he's been a sleuth, so he's been investigating it.
He was a prime suspect. The cops describe him as obsessed with Anita.
Obsessed with Anita.
You're going to hear that Nicole had an alibi while this went on. She wasn't there. You're going to hear she did not do this. This is a media sensationalized case. And that's the person they want. They want the roommate, the college roommate. That sells. What doesn't sell is somebody who's dead.
I didn't ever find out the answer to that. She said, was it a date or a relationship? I never found out the answer to that. I just came across this case today and was searching and searching. I'm going to search more tomorrow if I go to gym class.
Or an indigent person that lives out in the middle of nowhere in Montana. Nicole sells. And that's what's going on here. And I'm sorry that I get impassioned. But I'm sure you understand the seriousness of this.
His volume keeps going up and down.
State's going to talk to you about a toxic roommate relationship. And I know we discussed this in jury instructions. Siblings, roommates, they fight. There's issues about an unplugged fish tank, about an alarm clock that wouldn't stop going off. The evidence is going to show you people like Nicole don't kill their roommates over that kind of stuff. They don't put knives through their sternums. The evidence is going to show you Nicole Rice didn't do this.
Meet the all-new Movavi video editor. Edit quickly and easily.
This entire case toward Nicole has been an abortion of justice, and it can stop now. And Anita deserves justice. But justice is out there. It's not here. This is a show.
I know.
Thank you very much.
I'm up all the way. And my microphone's right beside my...
Ms. Sorgan, call your first witness.
State calls Sharon Knutson.
Someone call in Ms. Knutson, please. Thank you. Sandy, are you here? Okay. Sorry, I didn't know what you looked like. Thank you.
That's our victim. I mean, our...
Over here, ma'am, to the right. Yep, please. Watch the cords. You want to move that podium too when you get a chance? Actually, thank you, Mr. Nelson. I was going to volunteer Mr. Young's sand, but that's okay. It's heavy. Okay. Oh, okay. This is going to accident happen here. Yeah. Can you adjust that so it's saying that her chin? No, just the top part. Yeah, just down. There you go. Okay. Is it on? There you go.
Now it's on.
Okay. Austin, is yours on? Okay. All right. Ms. Sorgan, you may proceed.
Thank you. Would you please state your name for the record?
Sharon Knutson.
Get a little bit closer to the microphone.
She can't. Bring it a little closer to her.
Can't.
Taylor, just
Sharon Knutson. How's that?
Okay. Let's just try it one more time.
Sharon Knutson.
Thank you, ma'am. You're the mother of Anita Knutson, is that correct?
Right.
Are you Anita's birth mother?
No.
What was your relationship with Anita?
We adopted her when she was an infant.
How old was Anita when she first came into your care?
6 months.
Can I interrupt you? What?
Oh, it's still not on.
Push it. The green light has to come on.
Right. It was on, and I moved it, and it went off.
All right.
Okay.
Let's just start from the beginning one more time.
Sounds
please.
good, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. We've established that you're Anita's mom, right?
Right.
Okay. But you're not her birth mother.
No.
And what is your relationship with Anita?
I was her adoptive mother.
How old was she when she came into your care?
6 months.
Did you have other kids?
Biological kids, and they were all grown.
Did you have any other adoptive kids?
Yes,
And how many other adoptive kids did you have?
3.
Did Anita graduate from high school?
Yes.
Where did she graduate from high school?
That sounds like a family I know. Had 3 kids and then adopted other kids.
School at?
Velva, North Dakota.
And Anita was living with you at that time, is that right?
Yes.
What did Anita do after high school?
She went to college in Minot.
Which school did she attend?
She went to Minot University.
Minot State?
State.
Did she go right away to school or did she take a gap year?
She went right away
What was Anita studying?
to be a teacher.
Permission to approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Sharon, showing you what's been marked as for identification as State's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a picture of Anita.
When was that taken?
When was it taken? Oh, gosh, I don't remember. I
How-
think it was in high school.
I agree.
Is that a fair and accurate
I don't think she.
photograph of Anita?
Yes.
How old was she in that picture, approximately?
It's like 17. She was 17 when she graduated high school.
State moves to introduce Exhibit 1.
Mr. Sand,
No objection.
State's Exhibit 1 is received without objection.
Permission to publish.
You may.
This was your daughter? Is that correct,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sharon, where did Anita live while she was going to college?
She lived the first year of college. She lived in the dorms.
And did there come a time that changed?
This is the easiest hack in 2025 to clean your dog's teeth.
Best way to get rid of stinky dog breath? Crunchy veggies for natural cleaning.
The second year of college, she got an apartment with a share person.
So she shared an apartment with somebody, is that correct?
Right.
Where was that apartment located?
So she would be a sophomore in college. She'd be 19 or 20 by this time.
North Hill,
In what city and county?
Minot.
And what county is that? What county is Minot
Oh, Minot. I have no clue at this point in time.
in? Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Let's get a few bases on there. Sharon, how old are you?
I'm 80.
Do you sometimes have issues with your memory?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Oh, I can just hear her saying, "Oh, this is not a credible witness. This is not going to be a credible witness." Even though it's her adopted mother.
Do you recall who Anita lived with while she lived in that apartment?
Nichole
Do you know Nicole's last name?
Rice.
Did you ever met her before?
No, I never met her until after they got their room.
I don't know.
I knew she was Anita's roommate and also in college that first year.
So you had not met Nicole before Anita and Nicole moved into the apartment together?
No.
Had you ever been to the apartment?
Yes.
How many times did you have occasion to go to the apartment?
Really couldn't say how many, but I would go over with once in a while. Most of the time we would meet at the mall and go shopping. Go
Now,
out
when
to
you say
eat.
we would meet at the mall and go shopping, who do you mean we?
Anita and myself.
And how often would the two of you meet at the mall and go shopping?
When she wasn't working or I wasn't doing my stuff that I did in Butte. I had a business.
And you were living in Butte at that time, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You said Anita was working sometimes. Where did she work?
She worked 2 jobs.
Where were those at?
One was the Fairfield Hotel, and the other one was at a dress shop in the mall, Vanity.
Do you know what kind of hours Anita was working?
Not really. It's just
Now, you said that you had had occasion to go to the apartment. Can you describe the apartment?
it was a nice little apartment. Nita kept it up.
How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms?
1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms.
Do you know what the relationship was like between Nicole and Anita?
From what I got from Anita, it wasn't good.
And why do you say that?
She was kind of scared of Nicole. At least that's how she came over to me. You know, if Nicole was going to be home, she didn't want me over there.
She didn't want you to come over to the apartment?
Right.
How often did you speak with Anita?
Oh, all the time, it seemed like. Daily almost. We have our cell phones and then,
And did Anita have a cell phone as well?
yes, she did.
And whose name was that cell phone under?
Her dad's name, Gordon's.
Gordon. And is Gordon your husband?
Yes.
You said that things were not good between Anita and Nicole.
No, not. They didn't run in the same circles, from what I gathered from Anita. You know, they had separate friends.
Now, you said that you lived in Butte at that time.
Mm-hmm.
How far from Minot is Butte?
It's good 60 miles.
And you said Anita went to high school in Velva. Is that right?
No, yes,
How far from Minot is Velva?
30 miles.
How long does it take to drive from Minot to Butte?
An hour,
And how about from Minot to Velva?
30 minutes.
Now, you said that you spoke with Anita pretty much almost daily. Is that right?
Yeah,
Do you remember when the last time you spoke with her was?
yes.
When was that?
The Friday before she was found dead.
Do you know what was going on when she called, when you had the phone call with her?
No, that night she was over at her friend's house and she was getting ready to leave to go home, she told me.
Chores look different with Cox multi-gig speeds.
Do you know which friend?
Michelle.
That was Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any contact with her on Saturday?
I called, but she didn't answer, so I assumed she was working.
Did you hear from her on Sunday?
No, I did not. I called again, and she didn't answer.
So then what did you do when she didn't answer?
We're all busy. We're kind of, I was mowing and stuff. And so I thought, well, Gordon was going to Minot Monday. He can stop and check on her.
Okay.
And he did. I called him and I said, did you check on Anita? And he said, well, he went by her house.
Without telling us what Gordon said, okay? You called him and asked him to check on her on Monday.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
And do you remember the date of Monday?
At this minute, no.
That's your memory issues, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the next thing you heard about where your daughter was?
He called one of my neighbors in Butte and had her come and stay with me while he told me on the phone what he found.
And what was that?
He found Anita dead.
What were you thinking in that moment?
It was just kind of just spinning in my head. And my neighbor made sure when I got my car, I went straight home.
How old was Anita when she died?
18.
Now you said that you had 2 other adoptive kids.
Mm-hmm.
How old were they at that time?
That time they were in high school. One was a junior, one was senior.
And which one of your children was the senior?
Daniel.
How old was Daniel?
At that time, he was 17.
And your other child, who's the junior?
16.
And that's your other daughter, Anna, is that right?
Right.
When you talked about things not being good between Anita and her roommate, was there anything specific?
She would say things like, I have to do this or that before Nicole gets home. Just not comfortable things. One time I went over with her to the apartment and she said she had to feed the fish so they wouldn't die, because if they were dead when Nicole came home, she was afraid what Nicole would do.
The girls had their own separate bedrooms, is that correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Did they spend time in each other's rooms?
No, not that I know of anyway.
Do you know if they had access to one another's rooms?
For a short period of time.
And what put an end to that?
Anita had her dad come over and put a lock on her door.
A lock on her own bedroom door.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, we have to have you answer aloud.
Right.
Now, you indicated that your husband is Gordon, is that right?
Right.
How old is Gordon?
Now he's 90.
Does Gordon have any physical impairments?
He has a bad heart. He's 90 years old. He has the typical ailments of a 90-year-old.
Good answer.
Lousy. He can't.
And how about his memory?
Off and on. It's pretty good, though.
How about his long-term memory?
Long term, he remembers things I forgot.
Now, you indicated previously that Anita had a cell phone, and that was under Gordon's name, correct?
Right.
Is that how you would contact Anita?
Yes.
How would you talk to her? Did you text message, calls?
No, I called verbally.
And did you ever text with her?
Not that I can remember ever texting with her.
Okay. Not much of a texter?
No.
Do you recall where your other 2 children were at the time that you were informed that
They were
Anita
at,
was dead?
they were at school.
Call your home security provider and cancel the subscription.
This new subscription-free mini Wi-Fi camera delivers more advanced security features than
Now, you said that when you couldn't reach Anita on Saturday or Sunday, you assumed that she was working, right?
I assumed, yes.
Did you take any steps to verify whether or not she was working?
No, not, I didn't. Because we just didn't.
Not to mention, if I was trying to reach one of my kids and I assumed they were working, unless it was an emergency, I'm not going to call my child's place of business where they work and take a risk of getting my child in trouble with their boss because nosy mama over here wants to know if she's there. I can understand where this lady's coming from.
Are you familiar with an individual by the name of Tyler Schmaltz?
Yes.
Okay. Who was Tyler?
He was her friend.
Was there anything special about him?
He had some issues about, he wanted her to be his friend, and she didn't want him as that type of friend, but she still stayed friends with him, you know.
Now, when you say she, you mean Anita?
Anita. Mm-hmm.
And
so he wanted to be boyfriend, girlfriend. She wanted him in the friend zone. And he wanted to be closer. I'm gathering.
He wanted to be a little more than just friends?
Right.
All right. How did Anita react to that?
I think she just kind of ignored that. I never discussed it with her about him.
Now, did they go to the prom together?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
What was the prom arrangement?
She had friends, other male boyfriends that were in high school with her that took her.
Now, were these boyfriends that she was dating, or were these male friends?
They were just male friends.
Did Anita have a boyfriend?
She had one in California that she still kept in contact with.
Now, let's clarify that for in California. Was there a point in time that you all lived in California?
Yes.
And when was that?
From the time she was born until we moved to North Dakota.
What year did you move to North Dakota?
2003.
So 4 years before Anita died.
Right.
Okay, so she would have been about 14, if my math's right. Is that right?
She was 15 when we moved to North Dakota.
Okay. And she had a boyfriend from back in California?
Yeah, they phoned each other. They didn't see each other. They just kept in contact.
Did you know how she felt about him?
Kind of like a boyfriend, girlfriend in California. But once we moved to North Dakota, she would talk to him once in a while. But that was about it, as far as I knew.
Now, you said that Anita was friendly with Tyler. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of things would they do together?
She was like a tutor for him.
Did you help him with schoolwork, things like that?
Schoolwork, yeah.
Okay. How did Anita's death affect your family?
Really much, a lot. It's like I can't describe how we felt. It was so bad.
Is there anything in particular that impacted the family?
The loss.
How did your other children take the loss?
Very seriously, a big loss. They're still feeling, well, and Anna is still feeling it because we lost Daniel.
You lost
suicide.
Daniel committed suicide?
Mm-hmm.
When did Daniel commit suicide?
Oh, gosh. What year was that? Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but...
Oh, I could not imagine. Yeah, you're right with this one. You are right with this one.
I am shocked.
Finally, a new alternative that makes liquid makeup obsolete. Women over 40 still.
When Anita was in school, did she come home very often to Butte?
Not too often. She would come periodically, but with her going to school full time, working 2 jobs, and then I understand she would go to her aunt's house, my husband's sister's house.
Because where did she live?
She lives in Minot. That's a long drive. In the wintertime, it's not a good drive.
An hour on a normal day, correct?
Right.
All right. And in the wintertime, how long would it usually take?
Last week, it took me an hour and a half.
That is a long drive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mrs. Knutson, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Sand, do you wish to cross-examine Ms. Knudsen?
I am unable to see her, so is it all right if I stand?
Absolutely it is.
Thank you.
You want me
Too
to
tall
stand?
for you?
Oh, you can stand. Yeah.
No matter, you're
The
just fine.
chair's too short.
Ah, right.
We're halfway through this. Do you want to keep going or do you want to watch the rest of it tomorrow?
Very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We can do her cross-examination tomorrow if you want to. Okay. I think Brittany's supposed to come on here in any time. I think she's supposed to come on at 6:30. But I haven't gotten a notification that she's on.
Do you know how Anita?
You want to? We can do what, tomorrow? Six of one, half a dozen the other? Cross-examine tomorrow? Okay, we'll cross-examine tomorrow. Whatever you want. You know what? I'm going to take you to Taco Bell. Taco Bell's where people go when one person's saying, what do you want to eat? The other one's saying, I don't know, whatever you want. It always ends up at Taco Bell. We're gonna go. I'll take you to my refrigerator. I got one of them Taco Bell boxes today, one of them $7 boxes, and I ate my chalupa and a little bitty bag about this big that had broken chips in it with cheese dip. And I couldn't eat no more. I still got a burrito and a taco in there. So, okay, we'll cross-examine tomorrow. And I don't know how long it'll take. Because it says it's 2 hours and 53 minutes and we've been an hour and 39 for an hour and 39 in. But I skipped a lot of the baloney in the beginning. But maybe this other guy won't have as many questions. So, thank you for being here. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile, and get lockered. See you tomorrow.